Hello, good morning, everybody. So here we are. This is week 18 for our robotics class, and we are continuing along with our VEX Code VR. So hopefully you've been following along because what we're doing is we're building our coding skills. And it's really challenging if you don't follow, right? If you missed a lot of this or you just completely checked out or whatever, it's going to be hard to just jump right into it without really having any basic knowledge of how the robot works, right? And having some basic code. So at this point, I mean, we made our robot forward, reverse, we had it turn, right? We made some squares last week. You had to make a large square and a small square. And we're going to continue with the squares, except this week it's going to teach you how to use the repeat block. So if you remember from code.org or any of the coding that we've done in the past, there's something called the repeat block or loop, right? And that allows you to put in, so say you're repeating something, like say you want your robot to move forward and turn right, but you want to do it 4 times. Instead of putting move forward, turn right, move forward, turn right, move forward, turn right, move forward, turn right, that's a lot of code, right? You could just use a repeat block. You could put move forward, turn right, and then just put 4 times, and it will repeat whatever's inside of that block. So why is this a good thing? Because number one, putting all that code, that's a lot of work, right? So it saves the computer programmer a lot of work using a repeat block. And number two, the more lines of code that you have, the more likely that you will have errors or bugs in your code because it's easy to make a mistake. So when you use a loop or a repeat, what it does is it helps to hopefully eliminate a lot of the errors and things from having to copy over code, right? So that is important. Okay, so we're learning about repeating action. So we're going to be using the art canvas playground again, and we'll be using your pen. So remember, your pen can draw in different colors. And so it'll walk you through using the repeat block to create a square, right? Because when you think about the basic shape of a square, we're moving forward, we're turning right, we're moving forward, we're turning right, we're moving forward, we're turning right, we're moving forward, we're turning right. We're following a repeating thing. So I know we've done this lesson in the past. If you've been with me, we did the lesson on loops. I don't know if you guys remember, we had the one where it was like a dance moves or you had to like clap and like do certain things and there was a whole repeat to it and then you had to figure out what the loop was. That was part of code.org. But it was teaching you to recognize and identify when something is repeating, right? And then you're like, oh, I should just use a loop for that, right? And so that's a repeat block. So we're going to need a new project for this. So you're going to want to go into your VEX code, file, new blocks project, make sure it's cleared out. So then that way you can follow along. So if we pick up where we left off, so this is the code from last week to create the big square. We had move our robot pen down. Then we had drive forward for 600 millimeters, turn right for 90 degrees. And we did that 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So this is a lot of code. Look at all those lines of code, right? So imagine if you could simplify that and you only needed 2 of these blue blocks, right? That would seriously change a lot for you. So look at these 2 things. Imagine all of these lines of code versus only having these 2 plus a repeat. So now here's your repeat block, right? And they're putting those blocks into the repeat block, and then we're changing it to 4 times. That's really making a super big difference and making your code easier. So we're getting the move the robot pen down. Move robot pen down. Then we're going to look for a repeat block. And then we're going to put our code in. So we know we're driving forward and we're turning right. And you can just double check. So it was drive forward for 600 millimeters, turn right 90 degrees. So change this to 600. And then change your repeat to 4 because we know that we're going to repeat this 4 times. So remember, whatever is inside of the repeat block is what will be repeated. So that exact pattern will be repeated. The drive forward, the turn right, that'll be repeated 4 times, okay? So it gets really super complicated, which we're gonna be doing this with code.org in probably, well, I don't know, I guess I have to figure out what we're gonna do. But when we move into coding in the next couple of weeks, you'll probably learn about something called a nested loop. And that's where you can take a loop and you could put it inside of a loop. So for example, say you want to repeat this 4 times, but so you're repeating something 4 times, but then maybe you want to repeat what's inside of here 4 times. You can do that. So I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm just getting you guys to start thinking about patterns and how you can simplify them by using repeat blocks, right? So that's basically what we're doing. So now I'm going to open up the playground. I'm going to open up the art canvas and let's see what happens here. So when I open this up, here we go. So look what it's doing. It's repeating, and it's hard for you to see under here, but you see the green? It's repeating that pattern 4 times. It's repeating that pattern 4 times, and it's making a square. And so this was so easy compared to this code here, right? That's a lot of code. And what if you accidentally, one of these blocks were wrong and then your whole square was off? So that's why it is nice to be able to use the repeat block, right? Okay, so let's move on. And we are going to have a little challenge. So flow of a project with a repeat block. So when a project uses a repeat block, it still follows the same logic, right? So it still follows that same order. The only difference is that the stack of the blocks is inside of the repeat block, and there's less of them. There's less blocks when you use the repeat block. So the VR robot will move through the commands from the when started block to the bottom of the stack, and then the repeat block will tell it how many times, right? And then it will do that. So that's pretty much what it is. I feel like you guys should all know repeat block because we've done it so many times, right? We've done repeat block, especially, I mean, if you're new, maybe you don't know it, but all you guys have been here. So, okay, so mini challenge. In this project, the VR robot should draw a blue square on the art canvas, but there are errors in the project. Edit the project to solve the mini challenge. Okay, so we're gonna follow these steps. We're gonna watch the video to see what we want it to do. So let's do that really quick. Let's see what, it's gonna draw a square. But so there it is, there's our robot. We want our robot to draw a square. Okay, there it goes, our robot. Okay, perfect. So now, this is off. So this is the code that they give us, right? They give us move robot pen down, set the color to red, drive forward 600 millimeters, and then repeat 3 times, drive forward 600 millimeters, turn right 90 degrees. That's not gonna work, right? So we know that something is off here and the code isn't right. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to go into your VEX code and you're pretty much just going to create this code that I just put in there. So you're going to draw a square that's 600 millimeters by 600 millimeters, and you can make any color you want. So if you want to go in and you want to set the print color to a different color, you can totally do that. Oh, oops, not the print color, I'm sorry. Set the robot pen color. Set the robot pen color. You can change the color if you want to do that. Maybe make it red or blue, whatever you want. And then you're going to put the repeat block. You're going to do drive forward for 600, turn right for 90, and make sure you say 4 times. And then you're going to test it out in your playground. Make sure that it works. And that is probably got to be the easiest assignment ever. So pretty much what you're doing is you're drawing a square, except how I'm going to grade you is I'm going to look and see, did you use the repeat block? If you use the repeat block, you get 100. So if you send me the code and it's all repeat, like it's those long, long lines of code, then you didn't do it right. Okay. You want to make sure that you use the repeat block. All right. Okay. So then there is also a quiz this week. So let's go over the questions here. So it says, which of the following blocks is used to repeat the blocks inside of it for a set number of times? Is it the forever block, the repeat block, the wait until block, or the break block? Gosh, if you guys don't get this one right, then I don't know, you must be from another planet, because we just talked about this like for the first, 5-10 minutes is the whole thing. We kept saying repeat block, repeat block, repeat block, repeat block, right? So I wonder what the answer is. True or false? The repeat block can accept decimals as parameters. So what do you guys think? Can you put 1.5? Can you put 2.8? So it cannot. It can only accept a full whole number, right? And so that's important to know too, because when you're repeating something, you can't just say, oh, repeat these things 1.5. It doesn't, that's not going to make sense to the computer. So then it says, let's go to the next one. Conditions like the number of times repeated are used to end a repeat block. So what do you guys think? Conditions like the number of times repeated? True, right? Because you think about your repeat block will stop after it does the however many numbers you put in there, right? It'll stop whatever it is doing. So after 2 times, it'll stop. After 50 times, it'll stop. So that helps it to know. Next one, which of the following describes why a repeat block would be used in a project? So let's think about this. To repeat certain blocks forever, to save space and time for blocks that repeat more than once in a project, to only run a stack of blocks one at a time, to run an attached stack of blocks when the project is started. So what do you guys think? I don't know, because I can't hear you. So it pretty much, it's to save space and time, right? Because we know that we're going to be using these blocks over and over again. So why not just stick a repeat block in there, right? And if you guys have ever, I don't know if any of you guys have anybody in your family that works in computer coding, programming and things, these are really tedious jobs. These people are in the computer and they're really trying to think about how to optimize the code, meaning that like they want to be able to accomplish a task with the least amount of code. So that way their program isn't huge. It's not a huge thing. There's less error, right? But that really requires a lot of critical thinking, problem solving, thinking outside the box, understanding how the code works. So that's why it can be a really challenging job. If you really like to be challenged by solving things and you like to really use your brain, it can be fun. Like people who do these jobs, they like that and they enjoy trying to figure out things in the best way, for the best way that it can work. And so it could be really interesting to have a job like that. And they do get paid a lot of money too, because they have to really use their brain a lot, right? And they have to think a lot, and it could be really time consuming doing this kind of job. So if you like challenges, you might want to pursue that. And remember, nowadays, there's computer programmers in every field, because every field has some sort of an app or website or program or something, software, or whatever, that people are using. So it can be in any and every field. So if you have a certain field that you like, that you want to go into, but you really like computers, guess what? You could go into that field, but working with computers. So there's a lot for you guys to think about. And there's going to be a lot of these jobs in the future. So learning the language and learning how to think and understand these concepts, I think will really help you guys to get into this market when you get older. All right, so the last question says, describe how the VR robot will move in this project. So let's think about it. It says, when started, repeat 4 times, move a robot pen down, drive forward for 200 millimeters, turn right for 90 degrees. So we're thinking some sort of a square because we see that the turning right 90 degrees, we see 4 times, right? So let's read through the scenarios. So the first one says, the VR robot will set the pen down, then drive forward for 200 millimeters and turn right for 90 degrees and repeat this 4 times in order to draw a square. That sounds about right. Let's see the other ones. The VR robot will set the pen down and draw a straight line for 200 millimeters and then turn right for 90 degrees. But the thing is, they're missing the whole doing it 4 times, right? The VR robot will set the pen up and down 4 times before driving forward and then turning right 90 degrees. No, because we can already see that's missing a bunch of what the code says. And the VR robot will set the pen down and drive forward 1 time for 200 millimeters before turning 90 degrees 4 times. Again, it's missing what it's talking about. So I think that it's the first one, right? Because that makes the most sense. So when we're looking at code, you should be able to write your code down in a sentence because it's kind of like reading something, but you're like looking at it and you're trying to figure out what is this really saying, right? If I was to write it down in words to somebody, what is this code saying? And that's kind of, I think it's a good way to help you understand how to read code is practice these types of examples. So the answer then is the VR robot will set the pen down, then drive forward for 200 millimeters and turn right for 90 degrees and repeat this 4 times in order to draw a square. So that's the answer. Okay, guys? So that is your assignment this week. You're supposed to go in, create the code for the square, but you have to use the repeat block in order to get credit. And then go in and take the quiz. So there's 5 questions in the quiz. Please put your real first and last name. I think I noticed like I saw 2 that came in like with no name and then somebody just made up some name. So I couldn't give credit for it. So if you're wondering why you had a 0 on whatever it was, one of these previous ones, it probably was because you didn't put your real name. So remember, of course, you need your real name. Don't be silly. Otherwise, I can't give you credit because this all goes into a spreadsheet. And all I do is pull up the spreadsheet and I go down the line and I see the kid's name and I put the grade in. So you need to make sure that you put your real name. Otherwise, you're not going to get credit for it. Okay. And this is a new quarter now. So this assignment counts for 3rd quarter. If you failed the 2nd quarter, it's your own fault. Okay. So because every week I give the answers. And all you have to do is follow along, jot them down, and then go and do the assignment. I mean, there's really, it's so easy for you guys to do well here. So I think it's just a reflection of your effort and maybe where you're spending your time. So you might need to do a little time reality check and say, am I spending my time too much watching YouTube, Netflix, playing a game or something when I should be doing my robotics so I could get 100 in that. If you failed, then you should probably go and do that. I would do a check because how foolish and silly of you to fail something that we've made it so easy for you to have all the answers. You even have a video to go. It's not even like, imagine in the old days when you used to come in to the room here, you would have to have your notebook and I only said it once because we weren't recording it. And so you had to write it down and that was it. But now you have a video you could go back to. So you really have no reason why you should fail, right? There's absolutely no reason. It's your own fault. So go look at yourself and see what you're missing out and what you're spending too much of your time on and do like a time, I don't know, assessment or something and redo your life and then do better. You have a second half of the school year to get better, right? Every day is a new day, so get better at it. Okay, anyways, I think I talked enough. So we'll see you guys next time. I'll keep an eye out for your work and send it in. Bye.